Welcome everybody to Rob's MetalWorks. We are here at the home studio for a very special evening. Yes, I told you earlier today I'm welcoming one of my favorite bands of all time from Texas. Yes, one of the greatest bands I feel of the 2000s. Yes, Jessie Santos and Marcus are here from Shattered Sun. Gentlemen, welcome back to the program. It's been too long. I mean, I think it's been like 2 years already.
It's been a long fucking time. How you doing, bro?
Oh, God. You know, I was just like all giddy today anticipating your return because I'm such a big fan of Bled For You, and we're gonna get into that in a little bit. Jesse, you know I love you, man.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
it's been
God.
too long, man.
Oh,
been
God.
way too fucking long.
I respect you guys so much just because, you know, you guys are like great musicians, and everything that you guys are doing in Shattered Sun and outside of Shattered Sun, I've always been a fan of just because I really love it. So let's get started. Let's first talk about, you know, this is a crazy era that we live in. How have you guys been dealing with the pandemic?
Oh man, it's definitely been a setback for us. You know, when we first decided to put the record out, and we signed with Hammerforge Records, which was a big reuniting moment with us and Robert Beltran. We planned to put the record out in, February, and then we were going to do the tour in March, and then COVID hit.
Oh, man.
And, you know, everybody's world just got flipped upside down, so, like, it just seemed the last thing on anybody's mind was the album or what we were going to do, so we pushed it back, and it got to the point where we were like, okay, this is the new reality. We're not going to push this back anymore. We've been making everybody wait for, seems like a year, and we're going to stand strong. We're going to put it out, and we're going to do it with a new business model, and here we are.
I think you use a great word there, business model, because obviously, you know, and those are things that I talk about with other young bands. I'm like, what you're doing on the back end is very important, and when something like this is kind of like unprecedented. This has never happened before. So bands have kind of, I mean, I think the last time we had to revise business models were like when the internet came out, right? And then now, like, we have to do it because of the pandemic. And I mean, how challenging has it been? How to adjust to the new business model? I mean, I think there's bands out there who are doing it well, who are like ready to jump on it, and then there's bands who've been very slow to adapting to it. And I think some of those bands are kind of falling by the wayside. And if you're not one of those bands who's ready to adjust, then, you know, you're gonna be falling by the wayside.
Well, like to quote you right there, you know, how you say, you know, bands are kind of falling behind. It's kind of one of those things where it's understandable because, like you said, it is unprecedented, and I'm sure everybody going into this year had a tour, had an album, had something to push, had plans to do, you know, and this includes, you know, this is where I was going to go with this. This includes, like, not only just the band, but the people that work around the band, the crews, even, you know, all from the labels to the you know, agents to the PR, and then even all the way down to the venues and their employees. Everybody got fucked, and there's no other way to look at it. And until a few months into it, you sit back and you say, okay, well, am I going to not put out this record and just make everybody wait, and maybe there'll be some form of normal for us to go back to? Or do you make your own fucking plan and do it your own fucking way? And that's what it is now. Everybody out there that's doing it is doing it their way. There's no fucking rules. There's no fucking anything. You go out and you get it. If you want it, it's there. That's what we're doing.
And there's some bands who've done that. They're like, we're not gonna release our record till we can tour again. Like, big bands are doing that, and you know, I'm not sure if I agree with that strategy. I'm not sure if I agree with it.
It's understandable because, you know, bands, you know, from all calibers put in, you know, a certain amount of dollars. You know, it's definitely not cheap to hire, you know, as you know, Rob, it's not cheap to hire PR and to hire radio guys. And there's a whole nother side of this industry that I think most people do not know. And when you're dumping that kind of money into a project, and then to have that project tell you, well, you're not going to be able to make a return off of this. That's a hard kick in the fucking balls, man.
Yeah.
So you gotta figure it out, you know.
And I kind of feel I was happy that Shattered Sun released their brand new record, Bled For You, in August, at the end of August. I was glad that you guys decided to release it. And one of the things that I quickly want to talk about up front before we kind of get knee deep in the record, one of the things that I've always loved about Shattered Sun is that it's always kind of been like a family affair. Like, you guys being from a small town in Alice, and, you know, life happens, change happens, and people come and go. And I think now Daniel Trejo's back on guitar. Robert Garza, the dog. Where's the dog? He's back on drums, which I'm really happy to see. You guys have always had this really tight component of family within the band, and I think that's one of the things that I really respect. It's not just business with you guys. It's really like, you know, we want our family here, and with our family we're stronger, and we can do better things. So talk a little bit about the reunion of Danny and Robert back into the lineup, and how important that is to you.
Well, it's funny because, you know, I think, you know, Jessie could speak on this too. Like, when you're a young band that's dumped in the spotlight, and, you know, our first tour, as you know, was Testament, Exodus. Get out there and go. You guys are, you know, right on the deep end, man. I think it's easy to let a lot of the money and a lot of the things that happen on the side kind of take the lead. It causes separation. It causes, you know, arguments and stuff like that. But I think the one thing, as you can tell in our career, we always kind of find our way back to each other, you know, and that's important.
Why is that? Because I think, like, you know, I've been covering bands in San Antonio for a long time. We're a big city. There's a lot of dynamics involved. You guys are from a small town. Why is that? Like, why do you think that is?
It's hard to turn your back on family, man. It is. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It's not even that. It just makes sense. Yeah. You know, like Rob and Dan, DB. Fucking Dan. I never called him Dan. But those two dudes, man. They were there before I was even in the band. And that was 6 years ago. So, you know, it only makes sense that they made their way back, because it wasn't, you know, it just happened. Yeah. They found their way back somehow, some way.
It was kind of like whenever things started falling apart with what we wanted to do with this record and the lineup that we had with this record, when things started to seem bleak, it was kind of like DB was there to be the shoulder to cry on, and Rob kind of came back and he was the guy to vent to, and eventually we looked at each other and you say, why are we doing this? Why don't we just bring it back together?
Come home, bro.
Exactly.
Come home.
And the beauty of it is I think the band was strong enough. Me and Jessie were strong enough to form this band in a different image, but also were aware enough to be like, hey, you know, that's not working. Are we going to die, or are we going to figure out a way to come back together?
I think, too, it's because, I mean, you guys are getting older. You guys have families, relationships, and those type of things help us to kind of realize how important certain things are. I mean, I've never been in a band, but if I was in a band, I would think like, hey, these dudes are my brothers, and, you know, we have to forgive and move forward and for the greater good, you know, especially if you're from a small community. So that's one of the things that I've always loved about Shattered Sun, and I've respected about Shattered Sun, because I don't see a lot of that in San Antonio, and I'll be candid in saying that.
You know, it's funny that you say that, because I mean we did we did try, not to get too deep into this, but we did try and go a different route. And, you know, this is nothing against San Antonio. We tried to go a different route. It didn't work out for us. And what worked out for us was the roots, the home. And you know, Daniel being back and Rob being back, it just kind of felt like this is right. And that's where we're at right now.
Hey, you were telling me off camera, I'm going to put it in my book. So all you people out there, buy the book. And I'll tell you everything that Marcus was telling me off camera. Yes, sir, I understand. And I agree. It happens in companies and all different types of bands. But yes, I mean, you always have to come back to the roots and to home and to what feels right. What feels right, you know? If it doesn't fucking feel right, then, you know. I remember I was watching the video, thrash documentary, and Kirk Hammett from Metallica says, I remember when I first joined Metallica, I could pull off Dave Mustaine's licks, but I didn't know if I was going to get along with the band. Like, you can do the licks, but if there's no chemistry within the group, then it's not going to work.
Yeah, the friendship comes first. The friendship comes first.
And, you know,
like, as absolutely, you know.
And I think we've learned that too, like bringing in like fill-ins to come and play. Like, we learned really quick that, you know, we're really tight, and you can't just bring in another mind that is completely different in everything and plug and play. Like, it you know, it's something that we've learned over the years where it's taken you know, some failures and some positives came out of it, but the positives that did come out of it was that we need to be what we are right now.
Okay, so now let's talk about why we're really here. My favorite Shattered Sun record of all time. People, it's right here. Shattered Sun, Bled For You. God, like I said earlier, I'm so glad you released this record in August. There's something about this record. I mean, I don't know what it is. But this record to me, and don't get me wrong, you know I've been a fan of the first two records. The Evolution of Anger, which came out in 2017, and then Hope Within Hatred, which came out in 2015. But this record, to me, just seems more cohesive. It seems like it's more... It has huge hooks, huge melodies, and I'm just like... I'm all in that. I can't get enough of it. And Marcus, I was telling you off camera that I jammed to this record like every morning. I think I messaged you like a couple of days ago. I said, dude, I jammed this record like every morning when I'm showering and getting ready for my day. I mean, you know what, it's a great record. That
saved my day because I was crying.
God.
I was crying from a Dallas Cowboy loss.
Oh,
and then you messaged me, and then I was like, look, my life has meaning again.
Yes. What? I don't know. I mean, you guys are the artists, and you know, today I was listening to the other two records, and I was like trying to figure out like what makes this Bled For You so much different than these other records. What do you think that the difference is?
I think we changed the way we wrote the record.
You go.
This was the first time in the band that we were like, let's everybody lock into a room for 2 weeks. Everybody's taking 2 weeks off of work. If you don't get it, figure it out. And Chuck Billy came down, and we brought the producer Chris down, and everybody locked in the room. And my dad has these apartments that he uses. Yeah, we use for our construction company. So we took over 2 of them. One room was for music. One room was for vocals. Chuck Billy was managing one room. Chris Mora was managing the other room. And it was like a fucking... Man, it was just like this system where every day we went in, no ego, no bullshit, no fucking anything. New, fresh start. You guys produce a song, boom, bounce it to the fucking vocal room. Me and Chuck finish at the end of the day, go to the next day to the well. There's another song. Boom, we bang it out. And it was this systematic process where everybody was locked in. And that was the first time that had happened, where all the band even the manager was in there making it happen, and
Wow.
it was awesome, man.
Wow.
Awesome to have a legend in there.
It was a really cool experience, man. Like to just be locked in a couple rooms and just knock out songs day after day for fucking 2 weeks.
Had you done a lot of pre-production before then? I mean, were the songs already done, or were you still kind of putting them together at that time?
Some songs were already pre-produced, but the majority of this album was just like on the fly, kind of, and we made it there in those rooms, and yeah.
Now that you think about that, that's kind of scary because I think we went in with maybe 3 songs.
Well, I mean, like, fucking. At that point in the band's life, we were that connected that we could just make a song like, oh yeah, that works.
Yeah.
You know, fucking
and,
shattered. You know.
And the cool thing is we got to study from the greats, man. We got to go on tour with Testament, Exodus, fucking King Diamond, Slayer, fucking goddamn Soulfly, Soilwork. Oh my god! And you take all that in, and it just kind of sharpened the blade. That's what me and Jess were talking about on the way over here. When we listen to this record, sharpens the fucking blade. We've been trying to find our sound and trying to find our edge, and it just seemed in this record the blade was so sharp that we just cut through it, man, and it worked.
Wow.
Pretty much. Yeah. I don't have anything else to say. It's just it was a good time, and it was not stressful at all, and very easy to go through those songs when making them.
A lot of hot and readies.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it. Yeah.
That's good though. I mean, because if you're not stressed out, if you don't have people fucking pressuring you, and we're gonna talk a little bit about a lot of the some of the business components of it. We won't get too deep on it on camera like we did off camera, but a lot of how you feel mentally affects how you perform and how you write and what you're doing as a musician. I mean, I was talking to the Cauterized guys tonight. I'm like, man, dude, you're a singer, you're a guitar player. That's what you should be doing. You shouldn't be fucking worrying about, contract negotiations and all this other shit, man. Focus on the music. That's what you do.
That's the thing about, like with young bands, you know what I mean? It's we were in that spot. We were in that place where we let a lot of the outside interfere. And looking back on that, thankfully we survived a lot of those things. And looking back on it, if I could give, young bands advice, is all that little stuff doesn't fucking matter. It's like you said, it's about the fucking music. Focus on that, and that's going to guide you through it above all else, man.
Hope Within Anger came out in 2015, then Evolution of Anger, Within Hatred came out in 2015, and then Evolution of Anger came out in 2017. This one came out in 2020. It took a little longer. Was it because of the transitions that you were going through with trying to find a brand new kind of record deal?
That was absolutely the reason why it took quite a bit to get this record out. Because the record was done and recorded in 2018.
Yeah, we had this thing done.
I know, because you guys released like the first single in 2019, and then I thought like, oh God, this guy's already done, and then I was like upset because I'm like, why isn't Marcus sending me any music?
Hey, you know what? I think I showed you the record in a drunken stupor one night after a show at Fitzgerald's.
Oh, you did! I forgot. We were drunken stupered.
It wasn't mastered, so it wasn't memorable at the time.
I don't care about that. I just want to be in the know. I want to know what's going on with you guys. Yeah, so it took a little. Did you... Okay, because when the first video was released for Melody, you guys weren't signed yet. And you guys were like, we're just going to put this fucking out there.
We were completely independent at that time, and despite that, we planned to just go about, the goals we had in mind, even with the label. We still wanted to achieve those things, and, release the single, tease the album, get the album done, get it mixed and mastered, and all this shit. So that was the product of that. We released the Shades of Melody video, and
I think
Yeah.
it was also kind of I won't go too deep into this, but it was kind of a little jab towards the people that we felt had given up on us and looked at us in a different light, or tried to turn us into something else, or try to paint us in a different light than what we were. It was kind of just like, no, you know what? Like, everybody can give up on us. Fuck you. Like, we're gonna fucking do it. And we felt that song was strong, and I think even against some advice given to us, we were like, no, we're gonna do this, and that's what we feel is right, and we followed our hearts on it, man.
I want to talk about that song, and I will talk about it as we discuss lyrics later, because I love that song. That's a great song. The record sounds good on the stereo. Fuck yeah, we were jamming to it tonight in the MetalWorks. And you guys have worked with different people in the past. For this record, you tapped our San Antonio homeboy, Chris Mora, to work with you on this record. How did that kind of conclusion come to play with Chris Mora? How did that decision come to play?
So what happened was once we got Sebastian Elizondo in the band to help write this record, he had a real tight relationship with Chris. On top of the fact that we were pretty big fans of Charcoal Tongue and Darkness Divided.
Yeah.
And, oh man, it was super sick. And I think the meshing point was when I heard Chris's vocals on what's the Charcoal Tongue single?
I have that record.
You can't vex me, I'm already dead.
Holy shit.
That one.
Yeah.
Once I heard that, I
This is
called.
our dude.
Yeah, I said this is the guy, and we were gonna try something a little different, and that went in the writing process. Once we locked in Chris, like I said, man, we locked into these 2 apartments for fucking almost 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Chris Mora, the band, Chuck Billy, 2 rooms, instruments, vocals, and that's where it came from, man.
Wow. It's very cool that you can say, okay, we're gonna confine ourselves into this room for 2 weeks and fucking just write a record. Yeah. To me, that just says like these are just a bunch of dudes who are very talented and can do that. I respect both of you guys. I love both of you guys very much. You know that as musicians, and your music has meant so much to me over the years. Great songs. I'm glad it worked out. Let's talk about Chuck Billy real quick. Before I want to talk about lyrics, but you talked about Chuck Billy right now, so let's talk a little bit about Chuck Billy. He's a legendary figure as the vocalist for Testament. It's pretty well known that he has his own management company. You guys used to be under his management company. You no longer are, but yet the relationship maintains. And that's, to me, I was like, that's cool. Yeah. That's cool.
Absolutely, man. Chuck's not only kind of a father figure, but also a big brother figure to us. And, I think it got to a point where, maybe both sides just kind of needed to take a break.
Yeah.
But as far as family, I mean, Chuck is, we call Chuck our god uncle, you know what I mean, for my daughter, and he's just a big part of my life, as still a friend to this day, somebody that I get advice from, somebody that's helped me through everything. And Chuck made a major investment in this record, and not only
Thank you, Chuck.
yes, thank you, Chuck.
Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you, Chuck.
Made a major investment in this record, not only financially, but with his time and with his effort. And I think that's a big part of why the record is our best work.
Jesse, you want to say anything about Chuck Billy?
I miss him.
You miss him?
Yeah, dude.
I love Chuck Billy too. I've had the pleasure of interviewing him several times. Chuck Billy, we love you. You're a legend in the metal community, and thank you so much for supporting Texas metal. And when you come back, I will always interview you and support you too in your endeavors. When you have that kind of inspiration in the room with you, you are just ready to fucking give it 100%.
It's hard not to fuck up.
You don't want to fuck up.
Yeah,
When we would-
around him.
yeah,
That's what I'm saying. It drives you to be better. His presence makes you want to be the best you can be.
absolutely, man. Like we would leave, the session, and we would be like, oh, it didn't really go so well. I'd go home and I'd sit in the bath and write lyrics with Michelle right next to me, and just so the next day I could come in and be like, I'm gonna blow Chuck's fucking dick off with this one. and hey, man, that's why this record is special, man, because that gasoline was there every day.
Yeah. Remember, everyone out there, in case you don't yet have it, the brand new one from Shattered Sun is called Bled For You. It is out on Hammer Forge Records. Be sure to pick it up, download it, buy it, jam it like I do. Right after this interview, just go get it, man, and you will dig it. You can send me a thank you message tomorrow. I also love the lyrics in this record. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the interview, it was like, I'm like, you guys are family, you're together, you people coming back because of the love. And when I hear the lyrics of this record, it resonates that. What you guys are doing, it resonates that into the record. Like, we're a family. Let me talk to you about my kid. Let me talk to you about people who've left my life. And it resonates with people too, because we, on the outside, we're going through that too, especially in this crazy time. Yeah. So talk a little bit of the lyrical content, Marcus. I know you do all that stuff, man, and you do for many years, bro. I'm gonna tell you this: for many years, you've done such a fabulous job with lyrics, because I think that's one of the things that has made Shattered Sun so great, is because people connect with the lyrics. You might think like people are not listening to the lyrics, but they are. They are, and I listen to them. I'm like, man, I'm like, what the fuck did he say right there? Let me rewind. Yeah. And I'm listening to it.
I'm very mindful of that, because I grew up as a kid that when I went and bought Iowa from Slipknot, the first fucking thing I did was go home.
Tell us.
I cracked open the book and I read every fucking lyric.
Yeah.
The same thing with all the bands that I love. Fucking El Nino, fucking Mudvayne, fucking, Orgy, goddamn Corn, fucking Soilwork,
Thrust.
Yes.
Yeah.
What I did was I cracked open the book and I read the lyrics, and I feel like that's
See what happens when
that's a thing that that's a thing that a lot of kids aren't gonna experience these days. So I keep that mindful when I write lyrics, and I gotta say this on this record, the lyrics are so great because the team I had behind me was so great. Jessie, Sebastian, Chris Mora, Chuck Billy. You get that vocal power in a room, and you get that lyricist power in a room. Oh man, that's why this record is special.
It's one of the things I've loved about this record. It's like it can be very subtle and melodic, and then it gets like really super heavy. Like Letters to the Grave. One of my favorite songs on the record. I love Shades of Melody too. I love Never Enough, which I think is the heaviest song on the record. So good, man. It's like, when I was writing my notes for tonight, I was like, okay, fave songs. I'm like, okay, 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like, it was all of them. I loved all the songs on this record. And that's why I think that this record is the best work that Shattered Sun has ever done. And I'm not the only one that feels that way, Every person that I talk to about this record is like, yeah, Shattered Sun, great record. And even the national and worldwide press that you've gotten for this record has been totally positive, which is great.
I think it's so fulfilling, just definitely to me and Jessie, who were, the main writers on the record. You take a chance, and when you take that step and you take that chance, the first thing that creeps into a musician's mind is, fuck, this isn't thrash, but this isn't what I am. So how are people going to perceive it? The fact that we were able to take that chance and people love it.
How important is that to you? Before we move forward, how important is it to you, the expectations of the people the fans that you already have?
Over the years, after, playing guitar at the age of 14, and I'm 32 now, So it's a long time of
You're coming in. You're like the master now.
music being like the main thing of your life. It is my life, you know. But it, you know, you think about the fan base, the people who love your band, the people who love your music. But you also have to consider like what makes you happy. What sounds good to you? What sounds good to your bandmates? If it sounds good to your bandmates, fuck, dude, that's like that's the fucking route you should go.
Yeah. It's almost like that's like the prize. Like if Jessie wrote something and the next day I come in and I hear it and I'm just like, my mind starts exploding into a million different, vocal ideas. Like, it's almost like that's just as important as what the fans feel, you know? And it's awesome.
The love for our music, the love for the friendship that we had together, I think that's what comes first. At least for me, it does, you know?
Talk a little bit about what happened with Hammered Forge. I don't know who they are.
Yeah. Hammer Forge is a record label that's been started by Robert Beltran, which is somebody who's very, very, very huge into our in our history. This should be a Victory Records record, but
tell me the beans. Tell me the spill. This is your chance to tell everybody out there.
Without getting into it too much, I'm gonna say this should have been a Victory Records album. This was our third record. We went into the studio anticipating to release this record through Victory, and things didn't work out that way. And I think a week into it, we found ourselves on the back end of that deal, and with a lot of uncertainty of what was going to happen. And whenever they let us go, it was a shock. And we didn't. I mean, you're sitting in front of the producer that's supposed to be paid, and then you find out your whole career has changed. And Chuck came in and solidified that, took care of this record, and said, "Hey, we're gonna pick up and we're gonna find a new home." And fast forward, a little bit, Robert kind of came into the picture, and it was a big reunion for us. It was a lot of years of. And this is the thing, man. Not to get into this too much, but
hold on. I know that Beltran is family, though.
Yes.
He's family. He's a brother. He's been there since the beginning of Shattered Sun. And I remember tonight someone was like, "Rob, how do you know about Shattered Sun?" "Oh man, I can't even tell you." And it was your brother. What was his name? The tour manager?
No, Mikey T.
Huh?
Mikey T.
No.
Steven Garcia.
Steven Garcia came to my house one time and says, "Rob, do you know about Shattered Sun?" I'm like, "No, man." He goes, "Check this shit out." And he put it on for me. I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "They're from Alice." I'm like, "Alice?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but I loved it, dude." One of the things, too, that I've always loved about Shattered Sun are all the cool fucking videos that you do. And because I always know when I see like a Shattered Sun video that you guys are going to be performing. And I always love to see you guys play. I love to see you sing. I love to see Jessie throw down some solos and stuff. You guys released a couple of videos before the record came out.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't, lack of a better term, we didn't know what the fuck we were doing.
But that was before the pandemic, right?
Exactly. And we were hunting for a label, and a lot of it was, a label would say, "Hey, well, I'm offering you this, but I'm not gonna do this." And like our retort would always be like, "Fuck you, we're putting out a single." And that's how it went down, man. It was man, props to our agent Logan, man, because it was something we were gonna drop in February, then it moved to March, then the world flipped on its side, and then oh no, everything's gonna be good by July. Nope. Then for sure it's gonna be on in August. Nope. All right, well, you're gonna put the record out at late August, so for sure we're gonna do it in September. Nope. And now we're here, and we're doing our album release.
Yeah.
In fucking,
October 31st.
October 31st.
I want to go. So, obviously, it's been a long time. You guys canceled all the tour dates in late summer. This will be your first show back. All you people out there, this will be the first show back for Shattered Sun. Go ahead and take a good look at the flyer. It will be in Corpus Christi. What's the name of the club?
Brewster Street Ice House downtown. Yeah, that's the big dog place.
Have you played there before?
Yeah, we did our album release show with Chuck Billy there, and we had Darkness Divided, and we've also done another show with Sons of Texas there.
Oh, so it's been a while since you played there.
Oh yeah, well, but I will say this: every time we played there, we sold it out.
Fuck
so
yeah.
it's gonna be great, man.
Fuck yeah. Man, okay, I'm gonna try to be there. I really am. But you know, if I go, can I stay at one of your guys' places?
You can definitely stay at my house, and yeah, we'll watch the Cowboys.
Okay, it's on camera. Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah. We'll lose and we'll cry, and it'll be a thing. It'll be good.
Let's not talk about Dak Prescott, please. Okay, I'll say I don't want to. I see your posts. So you do this show on Halloween. I mean, and it's really like you as you mentioned earlier, Marcus. It's very unfortunate that the record came out and then pandemic. You couldn't really support this record, and to me, that's like a big no, because I love this record, and this record you guys could tour on this record for like another year. Now that if let's say you would have held on to it, and you just release it now. But what are the plans for the fall now?
So
with regards to the record.
So we're going to take whatever opportunities that we can get as far as things that are safe for the crowd. But it looks like our album release tour is going to be set for April, May. And we're going to go out. I think we're going to do 36 cities.
So that will be the beginning of the cycle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But while we're kind of sitting on our thumbs, we're going to get started on production on the next record.
What?
With Daniel and with Rob in the fold, as long as Jessie and Robert Beltran. And
wow.
Yeah, we're looking forward to
I
getting.
didn't even want to ask about that. I'm always looking ahead. But, I didn't want to take away from Bled For You. But, yeah, I mean, everybody's always working, right?
Yeah, and like I said, it's a new business model. It's a new business plan. This record's out. We're going to support it when we can. But while we're sitting around, we are going to fucking make a new record.
As long as you got this fucker in your corner, you're good to go. The man. Dude, Jessie is the man, and I have a lot of love for him and respect for him. You're always so passive, and when I'm with you, I try to engage you because you're so passive. But I respect you and love you a lot, man. I want you to know that. I really do want you to know. And Marcus, I do too. Gentlemen. Oh, any last words? Anything that I missed that's coming up for 2020? Because we're gonna interview you next year too. I support you and I love you, and I want to thank these gentlemen for coming over here tonight. Driving all the way from Alice to come here and interview with Rob's MetalWorks. So, talk to the people out there about anything that I missed or anything that's forthcoming.
Yeah, so I kind of just want to clear up some things. Like I know me and Jessie and some of the other band members engage in other projects and stuff like that, but our heart is still full for Shattered Sun.
Yeah,
that's our livelihood. I mean, we put out this great record. We already have plans to put out another record and another record after that. Our heart's still full into this, and I just wanted to kind of set the record straight and let people know that this is where our heart belongs.
Like I said earlier, it's all familia. It's all fucking familia, and you always come back to your fucking familia. Always come back to your familia, always. And I'm glad to hear that because Shattered Sun is an amazing fucking band. I love this fucking record. Jessie, anything you want to share?
About all this, yeah. I thank everyone who's jammed the record so far. But to anyone who hasn't yet, we have so much more to offer. We have a lot of music in our hearts and souls, and we can't wait for you to hear it. So, yeah.
Can we get a hug? Let's get a goddamn hug. Come on. Let's get a fucking hug.
Fuck the pandemic.
I love you too, man. I love you fucking so much, brother. Thank you so much.
All right. You too, Weddle.
Familia right here.
Familia, Texas fucking familia, just like it is in Alice. And these guys always have a home here in San Antonio at the MetalWorks Studio. Remember, everyone out there and around the world, I hope you enjoyed this interview tonight with one of Texas' brightest metal bands. They are called Shattered Sun. The brand new record out on right here, Bled For You. Pick it up as you finish watching this interview. It's on Spotify. It's on all music platforms. Jam it and love it. Remember, you saw Shattered Sun only right here on Rob's MetalWorks.